So people need to think again. I mean, I think I've got a very intellectual audience in the main. Obviously, you get the odd one that gets, sneaks in. But in the main, all my regulars are a jolly intellectual crowd, and I'm really proud of my viewership. Not in terms so much of size, although even the size of it's surprising given what I produce.
In 100 meters, enter roundabout. Take second exit.
But the loyalty and the good sense and the debate in the comments and the discussion, all very, as far as YouTube's concerned, a cut above what you'd find in most places and most channels, and it's all really due to the people who follow the channel. And so I'm very grateful to all of you who do it. But occasionally you get somebody on who watches the odd film, probably not a regular, and they're stupid and low class brain. And those people, well, welcome if you're in that category. Maybe watching my stuff, it might educate you a little bit. But if you don't know that you're supposed to let people in at the end and not keep them shoved out just because they didn't get into the lane that's going to be the surviving lane a long time before it finally disappeared, well, you got some rethinking to do, because that's not actually legal the way you want to drive in any place that I know of, and it's illogical, and all it is you imposing your natural territoriality onto your lane in a way which isn't even foreseen in the traffic law. So, what can I say? Think again. I think that's the way of most of you will say, yeah, what you're telling me is absolutely obvious. But I'm listening anyway because you sometimes manage to say it in an amusing way. I don't know if I can always do that, but sometimes. So, here we are. We are next to the Cassington Mill and trading area. So, I'm kind of stuck on a strange junction, which makes me feel a bit awkward. But I think I've followed these various robots and done what they want from me. So, Blenheim Gate. That's the name of the. Oh, look at that! Wow.
You are over the speed limit.
Fantastic. I mean, not being over the speed limit. I'm talking about that fantastic red bush. And this one's almost on its way. It's not a mimosa, is it? Lovely. Lovely colours on it. It's almost like all the traffic lights colours. And we're coming into, obviously, Oxford. But it's not the main Oxford. We're going over the northern part of Oxford. The A40 takes you over the northern part of Oxford, not through the middle of Oxford. Yeah, I've got no intention of going through them. Earlier on this year, right at the beginning of the year 2013, you saw or by the time you see this, you will have available to watch, I should say, the Oxford film. It's an earlier one from 2013, and how I managed to not get into the Bodleian because I went on a Monday. I think that's the day they're shut. Bit of a pity. So being in Oxford now, it's not Monday, it's actually Thursday. I could try the Bodleian, but heck, it's not 17:13. That's Polish time. I didn't change it. It's 16:13, and even if I go to the Bodleian now, I'll probably find it shut again. So, and all that will happen is that I'll add to Oxford's traffic problem. So why to do it? I'm not going to do it. The Bodleian will have to wait for its visit from yours truly. It's waited already many years and it still survives. I'm sure it will carry on that way. Its heart will goon. So there we are. Nice drive. And today apparently I received an SMS saying storms and gales are coming from tomorrow. This is the last sunny day. This was to encourage me to get my walking done so that I can, so obviously I can't walk and drive the car at the same time. That would be an interesting, yes, they should actually make cars that enable that to happen, that you can stand upright in them if you like and actually walk forward and drive faster or slower depending on, obviously you can't walk at the speed of a car, but it would be a mechanism for driving where it would be like super walking, so that the car would react to your walking and it would decide how to drive depending on how you walked. Obviously this is not something for people that can't walk, but there would be, there would be like a additional technology so that to encourage people to use their own energies rather than just simply sit like it is. A car's basically based on a seat like that and a dashboard and a thing, and you sit comfortably and watch the calories grow around the cheek area. That's all you do. You just can sit. Welcome to Oxford. Thank you very much. It's not as good as Cambridge, but never mind. You basically just sit down. Yeah, that's the idea of a car, is you sitting down. So and therefore, I mean, I can certainly take. I've always been a bit of a chubster in my life, but ultra chubbiness really dates, in my case, from the time when I passed my driving test, bought my car, my first car, which was an Opel Ascona, which is just a continental way of saying Vauxhall Cavalier. I just didn't want to take too much of a Cavalier attitude towards it, so I got an Opel Ascona instead. But I may as well have taken a Cavalier attitude because after that time, I quickly got into the groove of not walking. These days, this particular car, this Chrysler Grand Voyager or whatever they call it, I save it precisely for that, for grand voyages like going to the UK or going on big things. Anything small, I prefer to leave it to actually go quietly rusty and feel ignored, and go into its comatose state that machines tend to have when they're powered off, and leave it there waiting for me to need it for another grand voyage, because basically I'd rather use my other car, the legs here, these fat things, and make them maybe a little bit less fat, and especially the belly a little bit less fat. That's the idea of, but I never did though. See, when I first learned to drive, may as well look at you while I'm talking to you, I suppose, since in any event you can see it's a cue, so I don't need to be looking out that much. I can actually look at the camera. But no, that's funny, I wanted to lick my lips, that's not very nice. I want to see that. When I first learned to drive, I did have this problem that, once I got in the car, I just couldn't be prized back out of it again. I wanted to drive everywhere. And I suppose I learned to drive late because, well, first of all, at university, at my university, which, as I may have intimated, was the other place, not Oxford as we are here in now, but the other one, Cambridge, the real one rather than the other one. I basically, you have rules. Undergraduates are not supposed to drive around in cars. So some people are from well-to-do backgrounds, of course, who go to these Oxbridge, as they call them, places. Not only, but also amongst the Oxbridge students you get. I mean, some of my friends, I don't want to name them. They know who they are, but they might even watch this, and I don't. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. Yeah, it just was a fact that they came from. Some of the friends that I made in Cambridge were from backgrounds much richer than my background. Yeah, so. I didn't associate with them because of that. In fact, it made it a little bit harder for me even to associate with some of them that I would have got on, well, I did get on well with, but it was a little bit always awkward because I felt I don't want to be thought of as cultivating the acquaintance of much. Okay, so that cut off because my memory actually, I'm so used to the battery going first that I was quite surprised when the memory went first. But I was basically just saying that, and I've got to hurry up now because I've only got this back by dumping one earlier film that's just 3 minutes long. Yeah, I was just saying that some of my friends at university were rich enough to drive, but they couldn't drive anyway. I didn't get to start driving until after I left university because I took a 4-year course and also had a year out before university. That was already 2 years older than most people who come out of university. I also worked a year to make the money up to be able to learn how to drive. So I was 26 before I started to drive. I was making up for lost time by driving everywhere. And of course that was a mistake because I soon then added a lot of weight on. And now, if I'd have known then what I know now, I probably would have tried to use the car more sparingly. But I really just got addicted to driving, and I did some tremendously long drives. Although I did drive 1,000 miles to get to the UK this time, and that's only the second time in my life that I've done such a long drive. I was queasy for a couple of days afterwards. Well, it's not a good idea to do this. I ended up getting caught in Belgium with well, late at night, and about 10. I had 10 hotels, and they were all booked up, as you probably remember. So I am.
Take next
for that reason,
in 100 meters.
Not. Yeah, that's the way.
Take
Just coming
next
out of
slight
Oxford
left.
now. You probably noticed it's not the same places where I just cut off, but it's because of the memory filling up. Yeah, so basically that's what, you know, the thing. They should do cars. Cars are a big
35
problem
kilometers.
if you're trying to lose weight. But if they actually made a car which you stand up in instead of sit down in, and where you actually use your legs in order to make it just move. You don't really power it with your legs, but it's just that's the steering and driving and accelerating and braking mechanism is basically done with a foot pad. Then you know, like hands driving a mouse or something. That would be good, wouldn't it? That would be a nice invention to keep people walking. There should be other things that based on walking that people can just simply walk along like on a treadmill, and then be moving around on wheels actually, you know, almost like the cycling idea, but involving walking. Because walking is good, but just walking is a little bit slow, and also walking leaves you exposed to the elements. Maybe one of my viewers could invent something where you actually are based on walking. You just got a treadmill under you and some wheels, which actually does move you around on wheels faster than the walk. But where you control it simply by walking, mainly, or you could have handlebars and things, and which covers you up so that you're in let's say a little plastic tent, a polythene tent, so that if it starts raining you can still keep going. Which enables you to kick the thing to one side and actually pick it up and walk with it if need be, if you have to go downstairs or something, but which in the main uses wheels so that, you know, your walking takes you further. I mean, it's almost like a glorified skateboard that I'm thinking of, but involving some kind of a treadmill effect. Anyway, if any of you can think of it, then please put your blueprint in the comments below. And thank you once again for your kind company and attention.